I give you taste of my love, fact I've been standing there for you. Girl, you saw the work that I got, I could be holding back from you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and welcome to a new video. So in today's video, we'll be discussing things I wish I knew before I started business school. Now for those of you who don't know, I just completed my first year of business school while working full time. So I feel like I've been able to reflect on my journey so far and just think about things that I wish I knew or just a few things I paid more attention to before I started my program. And yeah, I just want to make this video too to kind of educate anyone or just spread the knowledge I've gained in case it might be useful to you. So yeah, if you're interested in getting to know a few key notes, then keep on watching. Okay, you guys, so before I get started, I just want to give you guys a little bit more background information on me. So yeah, I just completed my first year of grad school back in May. I'm pursuing my MBA with a concentration in marketing. My background includes a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I'm currently working in the legal field. So that's just a little bit more information on me. And this helps discuss the first point, which is knowing your why, right? I know for a lot of times when you bring up that you want to get a post-grad degree, people may not see the benefit, especially when it comes to an MBA. If you're already working in specific fields, you might not need the extra degree to be able to move to the next level. For me personally, as I stated, because I had my background degree in psychology and I was working in the legal field and I want to transition into marketing and doing brand relations, PR, things of that nature, I just felt like going back to school and getting my degree would allow me to pivot with as much ease and guidance as possible. I think a lot of times, you know, people do have the resources that they need to be able to pivot and transition into new fields, and that's amazing. If that's you, that's amazing. Use those resources to the best of your ability. But I was not fortunate enough to have those. And I also really value education. I think having the ability to learn and educate yourself is definitely a privilege. So going back to school was something I was always going to do. I didn't know whether it was going to be law school or furthering my education through another avenue. But yeah, that is definitely my first point, just to know your why and let that fuel you. You're investing your time, your money, your resources. So just make sure that before you start this program and invest all of those things, you know your why and you know the reason why you feel there will be value behind you getting this degree. And the second point kind of ties into the first point a little bit, which is making sure to network, okay? For example, like I mentioned, if you do have a network around you with connections of people who do work in fields that you're interested in, you might not need your degree. You might not need to go back to school to get a certain degree if you have that connection that can directly give you the door in, give you the key into the industry that you are pursuing or you want to go into, and use that to your benefit, right? So I would say that it's always important to network in business school and outside. You never know who you're standing next to, who you're in the room with, who you're working with, who your classmate is, who your professor is. Like, you don't know these people for real. And the only way you'll know is if you take the time to get to know them, right? Either professionally or socially. I'll be honest and say that I'm not the best at networking. It's not that I'm shy. I just don't always like to put myself out there, but it is something that I'm trying to learn more and more, just to be conversational. I know a lot of us don't always like small talk, but you know, it doesn't hurt to just reach out and be like, hey, how are you? You know, how are things? What classes are you taking? You know, my name is da-da-da. I do this. I'm pursuing this. Like, what is your concentration? What are your goals? You know, just having small talk with people around you, because these people might be able to get you farther than your degree ever will, right? So just making sure to network in any way and every way you can. And the third tip of mine is honestly to go to any and every study session that you can. If your class has about 40 people, I promise you only 10% of those people will show up to these study sessions anyways, which gives you the ability to have like a one-on-one with certain people, aka networking, but also just, you know, picking people's brains, because there'll be people in your classes that have more experience or knowledge in the courses that you're learning. So having this one-on-one opportunity to be able to basically learn from them and get tutored by them is amazing. I recently took an accounting class which completely like tried to take me out. If you watch my vlogs, you know, because I used to complain about it all the time. But literally one of my classmates was an accountant, so obviously he did super well in the class, but he was also kind enough to hold study sessions where we could, you know, ask him all these questions, go through the study guides, pick his brain. Like, he always made himself readily available to us, which was a blessing because people like me needed that, given I have no background in accounting whatsoever, right? So like I said, go to these study sessions, network with these people, connect with these people in your classes. It makes the experience better for you as an individual, given the fact that you're paying for this. And also you save a little bit of money because you don't have to go outside now and find your own tutor, right? Use your resources. They are there for you to use. So use them, make the time for it. I know it's hard sometimes, especially if you work full time. I would have to go on Saturdays. I may have to go after class sometimes. Like, it was hard to dedicate the time, but if you want to excel, then you will put in the work to do so. So yeah, that is my third tip. And my fourth tip is to really go to all of the social events that your institution holds, whether it's panels, coffee chats, just social events. Like, it's important for you to show your face in these places because, once again, networking, but also just exposure to different companies that may come in to speak to your school, whether it's like recruiting opportunities, whether it's just, you know, you get to speak to the CEO of a company that you know, just anything. Like, you don't know who you meet in these spaces. And I think that if your school is providing you with these opportunities for you to go to these things, if you have the time, go. My institution actually also offers virtual access to these programs and panels that they might have. So yeah, just see what options are out there for you. Even if you are limited and you work from home or you're not able to make it to the physical location, try to see if you can, you know, get virtual access and log in via Zoom on your lunch break or something. Like, there are multiple ways to be able to still connect with your peers and people around you. So don't let your schedule presently limit you from these other opportunities that can potentially be really beneficial to you. The fifth tip is that you have to learn that these courses will not always come easy to you, especially if you don't have background knowledge in them, right? So you have to understand that you might be the underdog for a bit. You might have to really put in the work, take the time to get to understand the material that you're being taught, and understand that you don't feel like that's a knock on like your intelligence. Like, there are just some things that you don't know, right? There's a lot of things that we as humans don't know. And at the end of the day, you are a student. So you might initially feel like the stuff that you're being presented to is completely foreign, but there are numerous resources out there for you to excel. And, you know, depending on your professor, they might want you to excel more than other professors do. But yeah, just make sure to use your resources out there, because, you know, one thing I always tell myself is if other people have gotten this degree, I can get it too. I know that there are people out there whose situations are probably even more uncommon than mine. And if they're able to get this degree, then I can too. Like, why can't I? You know, so just continue to push yourself. And that ties into the sixth point as well, which is that you will be stressed, okay? While you're pushing yourself, while you're trying to manage all these things you have going on, especially if you're working, you will be stressed, but you have to give yourself grace to know that you're human, right? You have a lot to manage, but you're human and you're doing the best that you can. As long as you are doing the best that you can, right? Stress will come. Like, you can't prevent stress, really, like, especially if things are piling up and you have outside obligations as well. Things are going to pile up, and that's just a part of the experience. But once again, remind yourself of your why and keep striving, because at the end of the day, this degree will mean so much more to you because of the journey, right? So just give yourself grace and understand that there will be trials, there'll be tribulations, but it's all gonna work out in the end. I promise. My seventh tip is actually to look for internships as early as possible. For example, my concentration is marketing, right? I live in Atlanta. There are numerous companies that are always looking for social media marketers, brand marketers. It's like a part-time gig, maybe on the weekend or something, or like 2 hours per day, you know, 10 hours per week type things. Like, there's always these like little opportunities that you can find for yourself, and that can at least get you experience in the door while you're handling all these other responsibilities that you may have. Really like niche opportunities like that, I recommend Craigslist and Indeed for like the smaller part-time opportunities. LinkedIn too, probably, of course, but I do think that I've had more luck finding out on, like, you know, websites like the ones I mentioned. And also in my everyday life, you know, I post on YouTube, I make content, you know, and these are ways to market myself. So this is also giving me a little bit of insight on, you know, the career that I'll be potentially going into, right? So yeah, I think in all ways, try to figure out ways that you can expand and perfect the skills that you already have to benefit you later on once you do obtain your degree. And then you can put that on your resume or your CV, you know, and this is something that you can use when you are, you know, getting a job later on. So yeah. And the last tip I would say is that if you're in between deciding on concentrations when it comes to getting your MBA, I would say that your first goal is to assess like what your dream or goal job is or would be. Once you do that, then you can better assess which concentration will suit you accordingly. But I will also say, try not to limit yourself too much. Obviously with your MBA, you're going to take a bunch of core classes and those are going to teach you like the basics. But I would also say don't limit yourself too much, and at the same time, understand what your goals are. So for example, for a period of time, I contemplated getting my concentration in international business. And then I thought about it and I was like, that sounds really good in theory. And maybe if I was an undergrad, that's something I might have done just because I could potentially see the benefits of it on a long-term scale. But once I analyzed what my actual goals and like dream job were, I just realized that like there's no need for me to now go get a degree with the concentration that I won't use, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if that's what you want to do, you can do that. And typically you can have like more than one concentration. There's no limit, I don't believe. It's just, you know, you probably just have to be in school a little bit longer than you anticipated. But if you're in between concentrations, analyze what your goals are, analyze what your dream job is, do some research, figure out what degrees these people have in these spaces, and then use that to your benefit when choosing which concentration would work for you. Because remember, at this point, I would really hope that maybe in undergrad, you're going to school for your parents, or you're picking a degree your parents would like, or certain people in your life would like, because it held a certain value to them or to you or whatever. But I would hope that as you are stepping into the next step and getting a post-grad degree, that you're just being a little bit more intentional in what this degree means to you and how you'll be able to use it for your benefit later on. I'm African, I come from an African family, of course. And so there was a lot of pressure in undergrad that I felt that I don't feel now, because, you know, I'm an adult now and I can make adult decisions, and I want to make decisions that benefit me, not necessarily decisions that my parents want for me. You know what I mean? So if you're an immigrant, that whole sentiment will make sense to you. But I just wanted to sit down and explain that too, because I know that sometimes we feel that pressure. So yeah, those are the main takeaways I had after my first year of my program for the most part. Overall, a big learning experience, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I'm getting my degree, and I hope that if you are interested in getting your MBA as well, that, you know, this video is helpful to you. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content, and I cannot wait to see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye.
I gave you taste of my love fact, I've been standing there for you. Girl, you saw the work that I got, I could be holding back from you.